Guys, recently, let's estimate the losses of the Russian occupier. Shows a steady increase with a strong precondition for the loss of Russian troops. New record in February. There is something else besides forecasting. As the number of losses of Ukrainian inhabitants increased, so did the number of destroyed building furnishings. Combat vehicles continue to decline. Accordingly to foreign policy at the moment, the Russian side, just over 10,000 armored vehicles remain, although it is not known as such. Many of them are actually ready for combat. The A180 foreign policy says 3,950 vehicles are ready. Mathematically, this number of armored vehicles may be possible, but it comes at a price. Attention to a nuance: long until now, the Russian occupiers have been trying to invade without much armor support, which markedly reduces their chances. If armored vehicles were in fact available to such an extent, light armor and offensive losses to the unit. For example, if the enemy lost just over 3,900 soldiers in March 2022, then, and about 900 armored fighting vehicles, with a loss of 2,700 in January, and armored combat vehicle losses were less than 300 units. This means that the ratio of destroyed vehicles to personnel losses has decreased 16 times. And it's not because Russian soldiers are getting better at war, if you're wondering. Now, we not only have increased losses among the occupying forces, however, armored combat vehicle losses have decreased, the lack of which remains an acute unsolvable problem for the Russian command. Personnel losses are on the rise, and Putin's generals are once again their war tactics. The plan is to replace the heavy equipment of the general staff of the Russian army to take the bodies of soldiers. The World War II tactics used by the USSR are not designed for technological deterrence of the modern army. Here you can see for yourself, occupier casualties increase in February, and the current rate is expected to be 24,000–25,000. Counting the wounded, the death toll was 65,000 in January and 75,000 in February. If we consider that the Russian occupation group constitutes 350,000 people, in just 2 months, it would lose 190,000 soldiers through irrecoverable and sanitary losses. However, some of the cripples will be replaced by medical treatment. But most importantly, Putin's general staff should understand that, irretrievable 108,808. The number of occupation troops is very large, so it is impossible to compensate for heavy deficiencies. In the future, equipment by manpower, off-stream, should not be thrown at its various private military. The scales off another wave of companies and organizations, but given the clumsiness in the Russian military vertical, these efforts do not fundamentally affect the overall trend. The only way for the enemy is to find another strategy. What are the alternatives? They wind up trying to squeeze something out of it, launching the rest of their rockets minus $3,008 drone, even retrieving Grandpa's balloon from the depot. In fact, this has already been going on for the last 2 to 3 days, nor should general mobilization be ruled out. The Kremlin's obvious bet is on a kind of militaristic masochism, stalling for time, anticipating a successful AFU counterattack and the defeat of the Russian army. If you like the video, and if you find the video informative. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and, if you're watching the video on Facebook, follow the Facebook page. Thank you.